Hello, I'm Susan King, the Dean of the School of Media and Journalism here at UNC Chapel Hill, and I'm very happy to introduce our Reed Sarratt Lecturer, Andy Polansky. Sounds pretty important, doesn't it?
It does indeed.
And of course, you're the CEO of Weber Shandwick, and I think it's amazing. You've had your entire career in this company, although it had a lot of different names.
Yes, it has over the years. It's a bit of an anomaly in that sense. People have a tendency of jumping around, particularly if you're in the agency environment. But it does feel like I've worked for different firms, because when I started it was a very small firm, then a mid-sized firm, changed names a lot of times along the way. But really proud of what we built over the years, and since 2001, 3 firms came together as Weber Shandwick, and we've been doing some pretty interesting things since.
And I think that's really a story of the journey of public relations, because it is so global now and has to be global.
Yeah. Well, we represent companies, a lot of multinationals certainly, in major media and financial capitals around the world. That's our global footprint. We have offices in many of those geographies, and it's really the connective tissue to our firm too. It connects our people together, because we're often working on assignments for those clients together across the different geographies.
And is it really important that you have like one name and one umbrella in the world of branding and things, that in this global world, if you have a lot of boutique firms, people don't know who you are?
Yeah, well, I think it's important. Of course, a bit self-serving for me to say, but in today's world, given the speed of communications, the complexity of the environment that companies are navigating, major organizations are navigating, to have a global network, the depth and breadth of expertise of a firm like Weber Shandwick, I think it's pretty important to get that consistency in the communication, to be able to react quickly to issues that might surface, and just to get some collaboration and great ideas across around the world that tend to resonate with whoever the stakeholders are they're trying to reach.
Well, I wanted to talk because if there's any business that's changed, it's a communication business. People think it's the news business that's changed, but PR has had to change as radically, partly because it's not just working with the news business anymore, right? So what is the biggest one? I'm going to make you choose right now, and then I'll go through it. Is it the biggest change in PR, that it's become global, or is it that it's consolidated all these businesses into larger ones, or is it the end of the newspaper, which used to be a real partner, or is it social media?
Yeah, well, I think it's a little bit of the combination, although I wouldn't say the death of journalism or anything like that. We still play a pretty critical role working with journalists all the time, and it's why we're sometimes hired, right? That to have the ability to really understand a company, how it's trying to articulate its message, how do you engage a reporter, that you still need that trust with reporters. The media organizations may have morphed and evolve their business models and are looking at different platforms, but we still work hand in glove with them, and we have, of course, developed expertise to help our clients understand those platforms, how to communicate differently across those platforms, and it's been a big growth driver in our business. But it's really, I think, reflective of how, to your point, our business has changed, and it's 2/3 of our growth comes from social media programs, content marketing programs. In today's world, any company can become a media company, and many major corporations and other types of organizations are building their own brand publishing platforms, and we often work with them to develop content that's engaging, that people are actually going to be interested to check out and get a better appreciation of what the company is trying to advance.
In fact, sometimes we emphasize that with the students so much, that they will become content producers, even though they may be in PR and not in television or something, but they're going to be making content. But we might emphasize that at the expense of dealing with reporters. And you're really saying, or can companies go around the media like politicians try to do now by producing their own content? What is it?
Well, it's a little bit of both. I mean, in fairness, there has been a bit of a disintermediation, right, with respect to the media. But I don't think you do one instead of the other.
Okay.
You know, I think news organizations are evolving their business models. There are fewer newspapers out there, right? There's, depending on where you are in the world, there could be dramatic changes in the media world. And I think companies have this opportunity to create their own platforms. It's not instead of engaging with the media. That's still critically important. And, you know, I think if you think about long-form journalism, nothing could be more important in today's world to provide the appropriate context and analysis about all the issues that we see facing companies, but also governments and people around the world.
And in fact, it probably gives you more of a chance to have CEOs or executives or folks talk long form themselves, because in all this noise, some people want to read more or see more in depth.
Yeah. Well, I think that's true. I think it's a little bit of both there too, though.
Okay.
I think in some measure, particularly with millennial audiences, they sort of like digestible forms of content. We know that across the different platforms, very visual. We created this whole unit of our company called MediaCo, where we're producing that type of content. But at the same time, yeah, I think a company is looking at its own channel sometimes to tell a more robust message. The reality is there are reporters that come directly to the companies now through those platforms to engage. So it's an interesting time. I think it will continue to evolve. I think for communications professionals, there's a lot of opportunity. We have a lot of journalists that are coming into our world, which is interesting. Some of the brightest people on the planet are looking to join public relations firms, given the way things are evolving.
Well, we like to say we're preparing students to become igniting the public conversation, whether that's in journalism or that's in PR, right? Because you really are trying to really engage a public.
Yeah, and we talk a lot about that. Engagement is a good way to characterize it. We like to say we're engaging always. But I think that's really the key. I think any type of information that you're putting out there, look, we're advocates for our clients. We're trying to help them articulate either a point of view or promote a product or explain their position around a particular issue. And there are all kinds of ways in today's environment you do that. And certainly the content marketing piece is an important part of that.
Is this a rising business? Is this where the jobs are? Are they going to keep going? Do I tell my students PR? Yes, yes, yes.
I'm very bullish about our business. And I think we've seen in the last couple of years significant growth. If you look at, particularly in the United States, the number of jobs in our profession, all the projections would suggest very robust growth over the next 5 to 10 years. Of course, the only caveat is one can never predict the cycles of the economy, which sometimes can clamp down hiring. But I've had the pleasure of spending time with students today in a couple of classrooms and just engaging with them. And I couldn't hide my optimism. I think they're coming into the profession at a terrific time. I think there's a lot of opportunity. And I think there will be into the future.
The negative side about PR was that if the economy went down, the first pink slips went to the PR department. It was seen as extra for businesses. Nowadays in this complex world, I believe that's not so, and that our students and our best PR folks are really strategists. So you hurt yourself if you get rid of that.
There's no doubt, and I think that certainly most companies in today's world understand PR people's role in helping advise around corporate reputation issues, reputation's relationship with the valuation of the enterprise. We've all seen the spectacular crises that can damage a company's reputation if a company doesn't prepare itself for that, react well. So I think it's so vital to have the public relations perspective in the mix. You can't really have a strong marketing strategy in today's world without understanding the context, without understanding the regulatory environment, the issues, the reputational considerations. And that's all fertile terrain for public relations practitioners.
One thing, this is self-serving for us, but as someone who's practicing, we have scholars here. We have folks who do applied research. What are the questions you want to know? You mentioned looking around corners, trying to understand where things are going. What would you want people to be studying to help you understand the business 10 years down the line?
Yeah, well, we're spending a lot of energy right now. We hire a lot of data scientists, a lot of analysts. There's a lot of conversation around big data. And what's changed, I think, in our business and is of increasing interest, not just for our clients, but for us as well as practitioners, is to understand how data informs strategy. I think we used to look at it a little bit differently. It used to be measurement in a rear view sense. How effective were our programs? Now we're looking at data-driven insights to inform what the strategy should be, what the creative should look like. So that's one area that we're very keenly interested in overall.
Yeah, I'm happy to say we do data analytics, and those kids are getting jobs.
They are indeed.
Yeah. And so one thing that interested me is, as a CEO, in the old days I would say that CEO knew everybody in town and was, a little bit of a rainmaker and, had been a practitioner. Now you've got such a huge organization, it's such a global organization, you got to think about HR as much as PR.
Yeah. Well, look, we're in the people business, so it's an intellectual capital business. Our assets, our equity is in our people. So it's all about what kind of culture does a company create. It's got to be a culture of collaboration. That's why clients hire us, to tap into the depth and breadth of the expertise we have across the enterprise, not solely on a particular team. And so I think that's really, really important. I look at my job as people, clients, and culture. I mean, those are the three things that really drive the success of a company. And I invest a lot of energy. I have my walk-around management style. It keeps me on airplanes a lot, but I think it's really important in today's world.
And the thing that you'd say to the students today, what do you want them to know? Do you want them to be absolutely skilled on all the platforms of media? Do you want them to be deep thinkers? Do you want them to be team players? What do you want most for them?
Well, all of the above.
Of course.
But we look for critical thinking skills, certainly. That's really paramount. You can specialize, whether in a functional sense, be a crisis expert, be a data visualization expert, be a video expert, or you can have deep sector expertise with like technology, financial services, healthcare. But there's still a lot of room for really smart strategists, generalists, if you will. In the same vein as it's still important to have those types of people in the journalism community providing that analysis and context. It's important within PR companies as well, and I think there's a lot of opportunity, as I said before, for I think taking the initiative, asking the right questions, finding out about a company and its culture, and I think students will find a lot of opportunity in the next couple of years. Thank you very much, Andy Polansky, CEO. We really appreciate you coming. It's been a great day here at Chapel Hill. I appreciate it.